Chapter 2379. I think the youngest daughter of the Wei family, Wei Lin, can't take it anymore. She was so arrogant and cocky before, but she didn't amaze the world with a single brilliant feat in these few rounds. Wei Min's eldest daughter, Wei Min, has improved a lot compared to Bai Nian. That Wei Lin, could it be that she's bragging to stand out? Someone in the audience couldn't help but complain loudly. Hearing this, the audience all looked at Yun Jian in the fencing field. There were also a few people who had noticed that Yun Jian didn't have any amazing performance from the beginning to the end, so they all started to talk about it. I think he doesn't have much strength. That legendary flower sword just now, could it be that it was also used to put on a show? I think that Wei Lin has been very close to Luo Jiejun's younger brother, Luo Jiechen. Luo Jiechen begged his brother Luo Jiejun to help him pretend that he couldn't lift that flower sword, and then put on a few shows. That's not impossible. Some people even suspected that Yun Jian's every move just now had been discussed with others, and that she was just putting on a show. Sigh, people these days are capable of doing anything. That's right. But just watch. So what if that Wei Lin reaches the finals? Luo Jiejun will help her put on a show, but the champion position of the finals won't be given to her. Later we'll know the truth. The students in the spectator seats complained in an experienced manner. At that moment, everyone was excitedly looking at the grand fencing field in the center of the gymnasium. The draw for the finals was also over. Yun Jian drew a 5. She narrowed her eyes. The ones who drew a 1 were Wei Min and a strong male student. In the end, Wei Min won the competition with a unique move. And Hong Ling and Luo Jiechen accidentally met. The two of them exchanged moves, and in the end Luo Jiechen won. Hong Ling scratched his symbolic red hair and left the stage with some regret. There were a total of 2 people who drew the number 5. These 2 people were, when Yun Jian and Luo Jiejun walked onto the field from the left and right sides of the field, the audience was in an uproar. This wasn't the final battle yet. Yun Jian and Luo Jiejun had already started fighting. Yun Jian, the girl who kept saying that she would be the champion of this year's competition. And Luo Jiejun, who had been the champion of the fencing competition for several years. One had to know that there had not been a single female champion in the fencing competition for a full 50 years. Yun Jian, this girl, could she really break the record of girls not being able to win the championship for 50 years and be looked down upon by all the boys? Just as the crowd began to cheer and get excited, Yun Jian and Luo Jiejun were already facing each other. The moment he saw Yun Jian, Luo Jiejun's expression changed. Then he grabbed his fencing helmet and said to Yun Jian, "You're just a girl. Girls shouldn't participate in this kind of competition for boys. You'd better stop." In Luo Jiejun's mind, these words were for the good of Yun Jian. After all, he didn't want to hurt her. But when Yun Jian heard this, she gave a cold smile. In the next second, the referee's voice announced the start of the competition. Without waiting for Luo Jiejun to speak again, Yun Jian appeared in front of Luo Jiejun in a flash with her sword in her hand in front of thousands of spectators. The moment Luo Jiejun raised his hand to stop her, the tip of the sword in her hand had already landed on Luo Jiejun's helmet. If it hit, it would count as 1 hit. Luo Jiejun reacted and was just about to deflect Yun Jian's sword that hit his helmet. With a backhand, Yun Jian used her sword to hit his torso, legs, hands and arms 15 times in a row. In the knockout round, 15 fencing would take place within 9 minutes. The person who hit the opponent the most times would be considered the winner. But the competition had just begun, and only 10 seconds had passed on the stopwatch. Yun Jian had already hit Luo Jiejun's effective body part 15 times in just 10 seconds. Before the crowd could react, she had already turned around, pulled off her helmet, threw down her sword and walked off the stage. At the same time, she left Luo Jiejun with a sentence that shocked everyone present. 15 consecutive fencing strikes in 10 seconds. You, the former champion of the fencing competition, are really a real waste. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. She's destined to be ridiculed for being lascivious and unable to endure loneliness. She's ruining the Wei family's reputation. This time, Wei Min had sufficient words to prove that Yun Jian had done bad things before she returned to the Wei family. Women in the countryside got married early and got pregnant early. However, wealthy families usually didn't take wedding leave too early, let alone getting pregnant before marriage. This would be ridiculed. Wei Min was certain that Ce would dump Yun Jian after hearing about Yun Jian's pregnancy and that her brother Jiejun would change his mind. However, just as Wei Min thought so, Luo Jiejun's face turned pale. Ce, who was standing in front of them, hugged Yun Jian's waist from behind and retracted his hand that was gently placed in front of her stomach as if he was protecting a treasure. Then, without waiting for everyone present, he took out a large notebook from his trouser pocket and showed it to everyone with a smile that angered both men and gods. Who said that we got pregnant before marriage? She's my wife. Whether she's pregnant or not, it's not up to you to tell her what to do. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Yun Jian had long noticed that Wei Min was different from other young ladies. Wei Min was very smart, but her intelligence was used in a bad way. Yun Jian only narrowed her eyes slightly. Just as Yun Jian narrowed her eyes, a group of middle-aged people in their 40s and 50s appeared at the other end of the school path. When Yun Jian saw that group of people, her gaze paused slightly. That group of people were the upper-class families of Puluo City. When Yun Jian first entered the Wei family, she saw those people at the banquet that Wei Xiao held for her to return to the Wei family. And the person leading them was Wei Xiao. Wei Xiao had just arrived with his wife, Wang Ruoya. He scanned the surroundings and was stunned when he didn't see the banquet that Wei Min had told them about. Min, didn't you send invitations to everyone in my name saying that the school would hold a banquet? My apologies. I've gathered everyone here today because I want to announce something to everyone. I didn't have any evidence before, so I didn't say anything. But now I've found sufficient evidence. I've already asked someone to take Wei Lin and my father's samples for a DNA test and found that Wei Lin isn't my father's biological child at all, so I want to tell everyone from the upper class that she, Wei Lin, is just a liar. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 2385. Slaying God, the number one on the International Secret Agent ranking. That was a person whose name was enough to make all the top international business leaders piss their pants in fear. There was a pin-drop silence around them after she said that. All the hubbub and whispers after finding out that Yun Jian was not the Wei family's youngest daughter, Wei Lin, stopped abruptly after Yun Jian said that. The quiet path, which was not wide to begin with, was eerily silent. There were dozens of people walking around, but no one made a sound earlier. Everyone kept their mouths shut at the same time. The scene was indescribably eerie. They could still vaguely hear the cheers of the fencing competition coming from the stadium not far away. However, the group of people was eerily quiet. At that moment, everyone's eyes were fixed on Yun Jian. Their eyes were wide open, and some of them even had their mouths agape. They looked as if they had been frightened by something terrifying. Especially Wei Min, who had been so aggressive earlier and wanted to dig out Yun Jian's identity and background. Wei Min's face paled at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. Her cheeks, which still had some color in them, were now as pale as a sheet. What did she say? What did Wei Lin say? She was... In her circle of friends, the group of old men referred to her as their representative, calling her, Slaying God. The number one on the International Secret Agent ranking, the boss of the kosher mercenaries. She had made a name for herself in the Bloody Night incident. Her ability had swept the world, causing international bosses to tremble in fear. She was Slaying God, who killed without blinking and left no trace behind. Wei Min's body began to tremble violently at the same time. She seemed to have learned something that would make one terrified to death. She was so frightened that even her lips were trembling violently. What did you say? You're... Compared to Wei Min's fearful expression, Luo Jejun's mind shook, and he had a sudden realization. He stared at Yun Jian for 2 seconds and his jaw dropped. To Luo Jejun, the reason why he paid so much attention to Yun Jian was because Yun Jian was very unique. Her every move and every word was different from those girls who surrounded him all day long. Luo Jejun was not short of beauties, but Yun Jian was the only one who caught his attention. But when he found out about Yun Jian's identity, Luo Jejun was dumbfounded. It wasn't just Luo Jejun. Hong Ling, Luo Jechen, Wei Zhe, Wei Xiao, Wang Ruoya, and all the people from Puluo City's upper-class society were dumbfounded. They stared at the scene in front of them, unable to return to their senses for a long time. You're not Lin Er then. Then where did my Lin Er go? Lin Er didn't come back at all, right? Where's my Lin Er? Where did she go? Wang Ruoya had been watching since the beginning. Now that she heard what Yun Jian said, she did not care who Yun Jian was, but where her youngest daughter, Wei Lin, had gone. Therefore, she looked at Yun Jian and asked the question with a devastated expression. Yes, didn't you promise me that you'll find my youngest daughter for me? Then may I ask, have you found her? Wei Xiao snapped out of his shock. He looked at Yun Jian, bent slightly, and asked Yun Jian, Dad, it's been 10 years. Even if she's really the Slaying God, I don't think she has the ability to find my biological sister. Moreover, how can we be sure that she's the real slaying god just by listening to her one-sided story? Deep down, Wei Min believed it, but she refused to admit it. All this while, Wei Min had been treating Yun Jian as her rival, so she instinctively refused to believe Yun Jian's identity. Of course I found her. However, just as Wei Min finished speaking, Yun Jian smirked and smirked. Then, she extended a hand as if she had expected this to happen. She snapped her fingers softly. After the soft sound fell, a young girl who was much prettier than Wei Min walked out from the small forest at the side. Her facial features were similar to Wei Min's. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 2386. The girl was wearing a pair of black jeans, a tight white top, and only a leather jacket. She walked out of the forest with graceful steps and gradually came to the front of everyone. Just from the girl's appearance, I can infer that this girl is definitely Wei Xiao and Wang Ruoya's biological daughter, Wei Lin. As Wei Min, who had always been against Yun Jian, Wei Min's looks were average and not considered good-looking. However, her figure was alright and was completely different from her father, Wei Xiao. As for the real Wei Lin, although her features were similar to Wei Min's, Wei Lin's looks were very accurate. Her nose was slightly high, her lips were red, and her eyes were very big. Her eyelashes made her look very cute when she blinked. She was completely different from Wei Min. She was really found. A person who had been lost for 10 years was really found by Yun Jian. The moment she saw the real Wei Lin appear, Wei Min's eyelids suddenly twitched. Then, her heart suddenly tightened, and an expression of fear of being discovered after doing something bad took over her entire face. You really are my Lin? My Lin? Wang Ruoya recognized her at a glance. She rushed forward almost at the same time and hugged Wei Lin. When Yun Jian returned to the Wei family, although Wang Ruoya was happy, she couldn't find the feeling of kinship in Yun Jian. Blood was thicker than water. This was something that outsiders couldn't imitate. At least when Wei Lin appeared, her looks could be recognized at a glance. She was the real Wei Lin without even needing to do a DNA test. Thank you. Wei Lin hugged her mother back and said to Yun Jian with tears in her eyes. That thank you made Yun Jian narrow her eyes. She didn't directly respond to Wei Lin. Instead, she said something that shocked everyone present. Perhaps you should thank that good sister of yours. If it weren't for her, you wouldn't have been lost for 10 years, and I wouldn't have had the chance to find you and send you back to the Wei family. The moment these words came out, Wei Min felt guilty. She looked at Yun Jian and shouted, Nonsense! What nonsense are you talking about? I didn't. That day when I went out to play with you, you told me to stand there and wait. I waited for a long time but you didn't appear. Later, a kind person took me away and I've been living in that kind person's house. I always thought that you didn't do it on purpose, but not long ago I heard. At this moment, Wei Lin spoke first after Wei Min finished speaking. At this point, Wei Lin paused for a moment before saying, I heard that you've been lying to everyone that you saw me being kidnapped by a van with your own eyes, but you clearly told me to wait for you at the same place. There was no need to say anything else. Wei Lin's words were sufficient to prove that Wei Min had deliberately abandoned the young Wei Lin. Of the way of the way of the of the way of the way of the of Wei family of the way of the way of the way of the Wei family. No, I didn't. Wei Min covered her ears when she was exposed for what she had done back then, her face drained of color. Still, she suddenly lunged at Yun Jian like she had gone mad, yelling and tearing at her as she did so. I did it. So what if I did it? It was you. If it wasn't for you, how could Wei Lin, that little b***th, return to the Wei family? I'm still the most beloved daughter of my parents and the most beloved sister of my brother. You b***th, go to hell. You're finished? You're finished? Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 2387. As if triggered by something, Wei Min charged at Yun Jian desperately, trying to drag Yun Jian down with her. Was over. She was done for. The scandal back then was exposed in front of Puluo City's upper-class society. From now on, there would be rumors of the Wei family's young miss abandoning her younger sister out of spite in Puluo City. As for her brother Jun, and he definitely wouldn't like her anymore. Wei Min was purely thinking that she would drag Yun Jian down with her even if she was done for. Hence, Wei Min did as she was told. Just as Wei Min was about to dash to Yun Jian like a madwoman and perish together with Yun Jian, Ce, who had been carefully wrapping his arm around Yun Jian's abdomen and protecting Yun Jian like she was a treasure, leaned her back against his chest and circled Yun Jian from behind to protect her as he spun her in a small circle. After he was done carefully, Si lifted his leg and kicked Wei Min, who was about 1.6 meters tall, in the face. The force of the kick was so strong that it almost broke Wei Min's neck. Wei Min was dizzy from the kick that was filled with killing intent. She fell to the ground with a plop. She was still conscious, but her head, hands and feet were completely numb for a short period of time. Her head in particular was almost torn in half by Si Yi's merciless kick. Min. Wei Zhe, Wei Xiao and Wang Ruoya, who witnessed the scene, cried out. Although what Wei Min had done to Wei Lin back then was already a fact, Wei Zhe, Wei Xiao and Wang Ruoya could not bear to see Wei Min die without a corpse. Humans were not cold-blooded creatures. No one could guarantee that they would not develop feelings for someone after interacting with them for a long time. The feelings here referred to pure friendship, family and so on. Si Yi's expression was terrifyingly dark. What Wei Min did just now was a test of his patience. How dare he face Xiao Jian's opponent right in front of him? In fact, Si Yi's kick had directly crushed Wei Min's skull. This kick was even more ruthless than killing Wei Min. Haha, you're finished, even if I die here today you're finished too, haha. Who knew that Wei Min, who was lying on the ground, could no longer move her head? However, she opened and closed her mouth and said those words to Yun Jian without fear of pain. Upon hearing this, Yun Jian's eyes narrowed. She suddenly took out a folding fan from under her clothes. She broke away from Si Yi's embrace and walked a meter away from Wei Min. Then, she pointed the fan at Wei Min. Do you believe that I can use this fan as a dagger to seal your throat? This fan was the one that Yun Jian had taken from someone when she first met Luo Jejun and Hong Ling when she first entered the Imperial College. She saw Hong Ling bullying someone. The fan was covered with spiritual power, which was why Yun Jian wanted it. No. Please don't. Min is my daughter too, please let her go. Let her go. Wang Ruoya knelt before Yun Jian when she heard Yun Jian. Wei Zhe and Wei Xiao begged for mercy as well. When the upper-class people who were watching the show thought that Yun Jian was a kind-hearted person since she had brought Wei Lin back. However, Yun Jian flung the fan at Wei Min. She was going to kill her. When everyone saw this, they were so frightened that their faces changed. In spite of it, a figure in a black robe flashed by the forest at the same time the fan was thrown. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes and smirked at the sight, as if she knew that the figure would show up when the fan was thrown. Just as the sharp end of the fan was about to seal Wei Min's throat, Yun Jian was one step ahead of the black figure and caught the fan before retreating to Si Yi's side. Then Yun Jian smirked at the black figure. You really showed up. Mysterious person. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version website. Chapter 2388. That was right. From the beginning, Yun Jian had expected Wei Min to stop her here. Hence, Yun Jian had called Wei Lin to the scene. None of this was a coincidence. Revealing her identity as slaying God in front of everyone and flinging out the fan with spiritual power was all to lure the mysterious man out. It was worth mentioning that Yun Jian and Ce had planned all of this long ago. What she did not expect, however, was what Wei Min meant when she told her that she was pregnant. Yun Jian's admission to the Imperial College was also part of her plan. It was not a coincidence that she had obtained the fan with spiritual power. In other words, Yun Jian's admission to the Imperial College was to obtain this fan and lure the mysterious man out. This was because this fan was called a wooden fan. The wooden fan, the sandalwood box, and something else that Yun Jian and Ce were still looking for. They would be able to rule the entire deity continent. And the thousands of continents. Naturally, they would be able to take down Earth easily. This was written in the records left behind by the ruler of the deity continent since the creation of the deity continent, who knew how many years ago. Hence, from the moment the mysterious man captured Yun Jian's younger brother and forced Yun Jian to exchange the sandalwood box for Xiao Yunju, the mysterious man had an ulterior motive. With these three things, he could easily rule the entire deity continent and the thousands of continents. The sandalwood box was one of them. The sandalwood box was one of them, and so was the wooden fan. Hence, the mysterious man had his eyes on it from the beginning. However, Yun Jian had gotten it first. Yun Jian had used the wooden fan just now to lure the mysterious man out. Tsk tisk. The mysterious man revealed a pair of deep, pitch-black eyes and stared intently at Yun Jian. He laughed arrogantly and pulled his black robe tighter around his body. Then he stared at Yun Jian and Ce. So you've already set up an ambush. Today, right here, is the day you die. Yun Jian uttered, her gaze fixed on the mysterious man as she gripped the wooden fan. When Yun Jian and Ce fought against the mysterious man, both of them suffered great losses because of the mysterious man's tricks. Now that Yun Jian and Ce were at their peak, the mysterious man was definitely no match for them. Even if the mysterious man used the 100-fold potion, he might not be able to defeat Yun Jian and Ce. This was the difference between them. This was also the reason why the mysterious man had been hiding in the dark and did not dare to show up directly. Is that so? Then you are gravely mistaken, sorcerer god. The mysterious man laughed loudly and said, this black-robed man who had suddenly appeared? Wizard goddess Yun Jian. The surrounding people from Puluo City's upper class, as well as Luo Jiejun, Luo Jiechen, Hong Ling, and the others who were present, were all puzzled when they saw this scene. What's going on now? What sorcerer god? What the hell is going on? Luo Jiejun's expression could no longer be described as an expression. Just as everyone was bewildered and Yun Jian frowned, Yun Jian suddenly clutched her stomach as excruciating pain shot through her. What did you do? Yun Jian clutched her stomach, feeling like something was flowing out from her lower body. The pain made Yun Jian frown, but she held it in. Ce took a step in front of Yun Jian and frowned. Fear that had never appeared on his expressionless face. Xiao Jian, what's wrong? It's true that I can't defeat both of you if you join forces. Too bad, I've already drugged the sorcerer god before you knew she was pregnant. It's probably a problem whether or not she can keep the baby. Now that the sorcerer god is gone, you're the only one left. I've also developed the 100-fold potion that can increase my ability by 10,000 times. Do you think you're still my match? Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile reading website. Chapter 2390. Without giving the mysterious man a chance to react, Ce grabbed the mysterious man's collar with one hand and attacked him with the other. His speed was so fast that the naked eye could not capture it. Oh my god, am I seeing a ghost? What's a sorcerer god? Are these things that suddenly appear around us the enchantment from the anime? And what's that god continent? What's all this? There were already some people who were so scared that their faces turned pale. They were frightened by this illogical and unscientific thing in front of them. What was going on? What was going on in this world? Was it really normal for them to see one scene after another in front of them? Luo Jiejun, Luo Jiechen, Hong Ling, Wei Zhe, Wei Xiao, Wang Ruoya, Wei Lin, and the rest were shocked when they found out that Yun Jian was slaying God. Then they almost fainted from the unrealistic scene before them. What's going on here? Why is that person targeting all of you? Luo Jiechen looked at Yun Jian from afar and swallowed the words Wei Lin that he was about to call out. Just as Luo Jiechen finished his sentence, Ce's handsome hand had already pierced through the mysterious man's chest and crushed his heart. Ugh. The mysterious man's chest was pierced through by Ce, and there was a trickle of blood at the corner of his mouth. However, this was not a fatal injury to high-level immortal cultivators from thousands of continents. Ce did not give the mysterious man a chance to react at all. Above his handsome face, which was infuriatingly handsome, was a pair of sharp black eyes that were stained with blood at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. He pierced through the mysterious man's chest with one hand, all the way from the chest to the back of the mysterious man. His other bony hand covered the mysterious man's head at the speed of light, directly pulling the mysterious man's head out from the ground. The speed was so fast that it shocked everyone present. However, after recovering from the shock, everyone present was shocked by CE's furious technique. The strength of a person's hand and fist could actually penetrate a person's chest and uproot a person's head. The mysterious man seemed to have lost all signs of life, his body paralyzed. Did he die just like that? Someone asked in a trembling voice. Is the mysterious man dead? How could this be? Do you think I'm dead? I've already taken the 10,000 times potion. Now, my strength is 10,000 times stronger than before. Divine Lord, O Divine Lord, no matter how powerful you are no match for me. Moreover, you still have your wife, the witch goddess, who is about to have a miscarriage. In her current state, not only can she not help you, she might even become a burden to you. The mysterious man laughed cruelly. In that second, his chest, which had been pierced by CE, automatically healed. The head that had been uprooted by CE automatically healed back into the neck. 10,000 times potion. Swallowing this kind of medicine was definitely a very harmful thing to the body. However, as long as he killed the Divine Lord, no one in the entire deity continent would be his match. The mysterious man retreated more than 10 meters away in a flash. His wide black robe covered his original appearance. He stretched out his hand and laughed cruelly in an extremely disgusting tone. Although I've taken the 10,000 times potion and my strength is indeed not enough to defeat you, Divine Lord, I'll make it clear today. You, Divine Lord, will lose for sure. For a woman, you will lose for sure. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 2391. But, if you give up the witch god, you may still have a chance to survive. So give up this woman. She's just a woman. As a senior immortal, what can you not have? She's just a woman. If she dies, so be it. As the mysterious man spoke, he started laughing. His laughter sounded as if he was remembering something that made him sad. As he laughed, a line of tears flowed down from the corners of his eyes, the only part of his body that was exposed under his black robe. As he laughed, a pair of dark eyes flowed out. Finally, the mysterious man stopped laughing. He stared at CE fiercely and said, "Give up your woman. You're in a high position, what can you not have? You can have a lot of women. For a woman? Is it worth it? If it weren't for a woman, would I have fallen to this point?" Yun Jian blinked from afar when she heard the frenzied words. Yun Jian covered her stomach. Although CE had injected a strong spiritual power into her, the piercing pain only eased a little. If she were an ordinary woman she would have fainted. Although Luo Jiejun, Luo Jiechen, and the others who were standing around did not understand the mysterious man's strange words such as which god and senior immortal, they were not stupid. The mysterious man meant that as long as Ce gave up on Yunjian, he would have a chance to survive. From this, it was not difficult to tell that except for the mysterious man himself, this place was surrounded by his subordinates. As long as the mysterious man gave the order, his subordinates would attack Yunjian. Ce was fighting against the mysterious man who had taken the 10,000 times potion, so he could not spare time to save Yunjian. The mysterious man's subordinates would attack Yunjian immediately. In everyone's opinion, Yunjian must have no strength to fight back at this moment. The severe pain was enough to kill a living person. Yunjian was already very good that she could stay awake and not fall down. If Yunjian hadn't been pregnant and he hadn't attacked Yunjian with Yunjian's strength, she would have been beaten by the mysterious man. At this moment, the mysterious man had also seen this point, so he had arranged this plan. If Ce gave up on Yunjian, then with Ce's strength, it would be easy for him to escape safely. However, if he diverted his attention to protect Yunjian sooner or later, he would be attacked by the mysterious man and end up dead. Sinister. It was too sinister. Even Luo Jiejun and the others had realized this. Luo Jiejun couldn't help but think that if he were in Ce's shoes, he would probably hesitate to give up on Yunjian. However, just when Luo Jiejun and everyone present thought that Ce would give up on Yunjian, or even if he didn't give up, he would hesitate for a few seconds before replying to the mysterious man. Ce didn't even frown for a second before his mellow voice rang out firmly. For her, it's worth it. There are indeed many women in this world, but in my eyes she's the only one who can be called my woman. Ce didn't even hesitate for a second. After the mysterious man finished his words, he suddenly responded. As he spoke, he glared at the mysterious man with bloodshot eyes. In front of everyone present, he spoke without the slightest bit of hesitation. His firm words made everyone present feel incredulous. Give up on her. If she dies, how can I live? Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. However, just as everyone was wondering what Yunjian's intention was, Yunjian held the butterfly's knife in one hand and wiped the sweat off her forehead with the other. She revealed a red arc that shocked everyone present. Then, in front of Luo Jiejun, Hongling, Wei Zhe, and the mysterious man, she chuckled. I, the sorcerer god, led the Yulong continent to conquer thousands of continents 1,000 years ago. The meridians in my hands and feet were destroyed and I was stabbed countless times. The pain was 10 times more unbearable than today. But in the end, I broke the heads of those people and pushed the Yulong continent to the throne of the first continent among thousands of continents. Do you think that I, the sorcerer god, can't fight just because of you and this little pain? Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile reading website. Chapter 2393. Because I am the daughter of the Wu clan of the sorcerer tribe, the king of the Yulong mainland, the sorcerer goddess. These simple words came out of Yunjian's mouth, but it made Luo Jiejun, Luo Jiechen, Hongling, Wei Zhe, Wei Xiao, Wang Ruoya, Wei Min, Wei Lin, and all the people from the upper class of Puluo City who were standing around feel as if they were on a battlefield. Yunjian, who was holding a butterfly knife in front of them, was like the grim reaper from hell. She seemed to be stepping on thousands of corpses. Wherever the blade passed, she was the king. A young girl who seemed to be in her teens in front of everyone present, when everyone thought that she would definitely not be able to hold on, actually straightened her back, held the blade in her hand and fought against the four sides. Everyone was completely stunned at the same time. Imagine if they were to switch roles and become Yunjian, they would probably not even be able to stand straight under the intense pain from their abdomens. At this moment, Luo Jiejun and the dozens of people present all held their breaths. Even Wei Min, who was paralyzed on the ground after her head was smashed by Ce's kick, took a deep breath when she heard the sound. Seeing this, the mysterious man's eyes were fixed on her fiercely, and there was a flash of astonishment in his eyes. Ha ha, you are indeed the sorcerer goddess, the god of war who was once popular on thousands of continents and made all the strong people on thousands of continents tremble in fear. You are indeed very powerful. But it's a pity that I only have one bottle of the 10,000-fold potion, and I have already used it myself. However, the 100-fold potion is in the hands of my dozens of subordinates. Each of them has one bottle. When the mysterious man said this, Luo Jiejun and the others who were already dumbfounded, were shocked again. Although this was the first time Luo Jiejun and the others had heard of the Yulong mainland, the sorcerer goddess, and the divine emperor, these series of things were completely unrealistic and did not exist on Earth. However, after listening to the mysterious man for so long, they could more or less understand some of the ambiguous words. For example, the 10,000-fold potion and the 100-fold potion. Moreover, the mysterious man had previously mentioned that the 10,000-fold potion was a potion that could increase his strength by 10,000 times. Then, as the name suggested, the 100-fold potion could naturally increase one's strength by 100 times. It was really too sinister. He was too calculative. In Yun Jian's current state, her physical strength would be affected more or less, and the mysterious man had all his subordinates take the 100-fold potion. Then Yun Jian, wouldn't she be done for then? Chapter 2395. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. If the mysterious man had only targeted CE, CE would not have cared if the mysterious man was dead or alive. But of all things, he shouldn't have touched his woman. Ah. Sir God, you were hiding your strength. The mysterious man's head and hands were crushed by CE, leaving only his body and legs. He screamed at CE from the depths of his soul. Although the mysterious man's head was no longer there, he could still speak. This was because when a high-level cultivator's strength reached a certain level, even if his body was destroyed, his soul would still be there and he would not be considered dead. 1,000 years ago, Yun Jian, who was the sorcerer god, was killed by the mysterious man. Both his body and soul were destroyed and his soul should have been destroyed. Therefore, even though the mysterious man's body was destroyed by CE, his soul could still scream. As long as a high-level cultivator's soul was not destroyed, he would at most be severely injured if his body was destroyed. When he found a new body, he could still be revived. However, it was not that easy to kill the soul of a high-level cultivator. Of course, to CE, it was not difficult to destroy the soul of a high-level cultivator. Die. CE, on the other hand, channeled the powerful spiritual force he had accumulated throughout his life to a single point, his cold gaze devoid of color. Just as CE was about to launch the final attack on the mysterious man and destroy his soul completely so that the mysterious man could not be revived. Activate self-destruction. 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 Ah. Even if I die, the sorcerer god will die with me. The mysterious man ordered the remaining 3 black-robed men with a whistle that came from the depths of his soul. In the blink of an eye, only 3 of the black-robed men were left. The sorcerer god, who had led the Yulong continent from the lowest continent to the top, was not simple at all. However, the mysterious man still had a trick up his sleeve. The 3 black-robed men accepted the order. Like 3 puppets, the 3 of them poured all of their spiritual energy into their hearts. In just a few seconds they detonated their dantian. Every immortal cultivator of the myriad of continents had a fatal trump card. By injecting all of one's spiritual energy into one's heart and detonating one's dantian, one would be able to generate energy from the depths of one's soul to self-destruct. In other words, it would explode on the spot. The 3 black-robed men had self-detonated right next to Yun Jian. Even if the explosion did not kill Yun Jian, the child in Yun Jian's womb would not survive. Seeing this, CE didn't even think about it. She immediately retracted the spiritual energy she had gathered at one point to launch the final attack on the mysterious man. She then rushed towards Yun Jian. In a flash, CE appeared in front of Yun Jian and wrapped her arms around Yun Jian's slender waist. Without any hesitation, she wrapped her arms around Yun Jian's abdomen and carefully supported Yun Jian as she flashed more than 10 meters away. This process did not take more than 3 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. 3 seconds later, an earth-shattering sound was heard. The 3 black-robed men exploded on the spot and turned into a pool of blood. Ah! The mysterious man peeled off his physical body on the spot and screamed in agony. Using a bit of spiritual energy, his soul abandoned his physical body and fled the place in a wretched state. The 3 black-robed men's self-detonation left no survivors in their wake. Luo Jejun and the others were implicated in the explosion and died horribly. Where they were just now, other than Yun Jian, who was protected by CE's firm chest without losing a single strand of hair, everyone else was a bloody mess. CE used his back to withstand the pressure of the 3 black-robed men's self-detonation on Yun Jian. When everything returned to silence, Yun Jian squirmed out of CE's embrace. "Xiao Jian, are you okay?" CE wrapped his arms around Yun Jian to check if she was injured. He breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Yun Jian was unharmed. You're hurt?" Yun Jian's heart clenched when she looked up and saw a trail of blood at the corner of his lips under his handsome face. His back was crushed by the force of the 3 black-robed men's self-detonation. Even the clothes he wore were torn apart and the smooth skin on his back was now a bloody mess. Seeing her sad face, he pulled her into his arms, completely ignoring the injuries on his body, and gave her a handsome smile that made the whole world lose its luster. Xiao Jian, I'm glad you're okay. Translator, Henyi Translations Editor, Henyi Translations. Chapter 2396. Page 1/1. As long as his Xiao Jian was fine, it did not matter how badly he was injured. Yun Jian's eyes moistened for some reason when she heard Si Yi's words. She opened her mouth but realized that she could not say anything. Yun Jian stopped talking and hugged Si Yi, careful not to touch his wound. I'm fine. Yun Jian had just uttered the words when beads of sweat trickled down her forehead again. Something seemed to be flowing out from her lower body. Wiping her hand away, she saw that her hand was covered in crimson blood. The mysterious man abandoned his physical body at the last moment and tore his soul apart to escape. Even for an advanced cultivator, it was no different from suicide to tear apart one's soul and escape. This was because once a person's soul and body were separated, the soul would escape. For the mysterious person, he would suffer a severe injury. Moreover, the backlash from consuming the 10,000 times potion would be more than enough for the mysterious person to suffer. It would probably take a few years for the mysterious man to struggle to even walk normally, even if he found a physical body to reside in again. There was no need to even think about it. In the next few days in Puluo City, there was a major incident that shook the city and even the country. Today's report is that a bizarre incident has happened in Puluo City. The remains of most of the upper-class people in Puluo City were found in Emperor College. The corpses are suspected to have been blown up. It's reported that the cause of this case is unknown. The survivors are also upper-class people in Puluo City. It's said that after the incident, they kept their mouths shut when the police questioned them about the case. It's suspected that they were scared out of their wits. The police are still investigating the case. Please stay tuned to China Central News broadcast. We'll be broadcasting the latest news as soon as possible. In a shopping mall that sold electrical appliances in Puluo City, the televisions displayed on the counters were broadcasting the latest news. In the Kosha mercenaries far away in Country M, Snake Lizard was sitting on the sofa in the lobby of the Kosha mercenaries, staring at the television in front of her as she watched the same news. It had already been 3 months since the incident that day. Thud thud thud. A tall and muscular figure came through the door. For the first time, Snake Lizard stood up anxiously and looked at Tiger Leopard, who walked in from outside the door, asking, "Have you found it?" Under the worried look on Snake Lizard's face, Tiger Leopard shook his head truthfully. "I didn't find anything on my side." After saying that, the Tiger Leopard saw that the Snake Lizard's face had obviously darkened. After a while, a few more figures walked into the Kosha mercenaries' hall. Snake Lizard stepped forward and asked before the other party could speak, "Is there any news from your side?" The visitors were Dai Ani, Guiyen, Guilien, Qingyu, and all the higher-ups of the Kosha mercenaries. "We've already confronted each other at the door." Diana spoke to Snake Lizard on behalf of everyone else. Just as she said that, Diana paused. She furrowed her brows deeply, and finally could not bear to continue. "There's still no news from Sister Jian. In the past 3 months, Snake Lizard had sent out all the higher-ups of the Kosha mercenaries to search for Yun Jian, but there were no clues at all. It was as if Yun Jian had vanished from the face of the earth. Yun Jian had always kept in touch with Snake Lizard. Even when Yun Jian went missing for 2 years when she went to Deity Continent's Holy Spring, she tried to contact Snake Lizard. And Snake Lizard was not worried back then. However, it had been 3 months since Yun Jian had gone missing. There was not a single piece of news left for her. This had never happened before. Sister Lizard, Sister Jian wouldn't? Qingyu's voice trembled in disbelief. She wouldn't. Snake Lizard denied. Amidst the silence, Dai Ani pondered for 2 seconds before speaking suddenly. "Although we didn't find any trace of Sister Jian, I recently received a strange piece of news. In the past month, the world's top obstetrics and gynecologists as well as nutritionists have all gone missing one after another. What's even more bizarre is that 50% of the world's high-end baby product stores have been ransacked." Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Chapter 2397. F***CK Who did this? How wicked. Fox could not help grumbling when he was concerned about Yun Jian's safety. Dai Ani cut the fox off and said, "The problem now isn't to find out who did this. It's to see if this has anything to do with Sister Jian's disappearance." There's no need to rob a baby store when Sister Jian is missing, is there? The disappearance of the world's top obstetrics and gynecology specialist and nutritionist shouldn't have anything to do with Sister Jian, right? Raccoon analyzed philosophically. Keep investigating Sister Jian's disappearance. Remember, don't leak any information. I don't believe that anything has happened to Sister Jian. Before Sister Jian comes back, we must protect the kosher mercenaries. Snake. Lizard cut off the men's speculations and said solemnly. The men nodded in unison at Snake. Lizard's words. A few days later, however, something went wrong, and the disappearance of Slaying God, the top secret agent in the international ranking, the boss of the kosher mercenaries, spread like wildfire internationally. Once the news was out, it was impossible to keep it under wraps. Needless to say, the news did not come from Snake, Lizard and her men. Despite the global uproar, Yun Jian, who was staying on an uninhabited island, did not hear a thing. It had been 3 months since the last incident. 3 months ago, Yun Jian almost had a miscarriage, but she was brought to this uninhabited island by CE without a word to recuperate. Forget about the possibility of a miscarriage. Yun Jian had gained weight from being fed by CE in the short span of 3 months. Her belly was obviously showing as well. This uninhabited island was very secluded. Normally, no one would come to this island. At the same time, Yun Jian was sunbathing under the sun. CE, on the other hand, sat beside Yun Jian and kept his hand on Yun Jian's stomach, caressing it softly every once in a while and leaning his ear against it to listen to the movements in her stomach. Until the arrival of Morrison. Young master, 10 years worth of premium baby products and clothes for 1 to 10 years old have been prepared, Mo-sun told CE with a smirk, maintaining his solemn demeanor. Yes. CE nodded and tousled Yun Jian's hair, asking Yun Jian in an indulgent voice, Xiao Jian, are you hungry? Yun Jian realized that CE's favorite question was, are you hungry? After asking her if she was hungry, he asked if the baby in her stomach was hungry. I'm not hungry. Yun Jian pursed her lips and said, are you hungry? As expected, CE immediately asked. Cough, cough. The questions came one after another. Even Mo-sun, who was standing at the side, had calluses on his ears. After all, for Mo-sun, who was still a virgin, this topic was too ambiguous. Young master, I'll take my leave first. Have a good time with young madam. Contact me anytime if you need anything. Morrison slipped away after that. Chapter 2398. Guxing's birth made Qin Yiru feel more like a mature woman. It was not like how she used to look 20 years older than her actual age due to overwork. Instead, she had the charm of a woman in her 40s. Yun Jian and Yun Yi were Qin Yiru's flesh and blood. Guxing was Qin Yiru's flesh and blood too. As for Xiao Yunzhu, Duanli, Duanya, and the rest of the Guxian, Qin Yiru treated them the same. There was nothing wrong with that. That night, because everyone was in high spirits, they drank more than usual. Especially the innocent Si Luo, who was led by Qin Yu to drink. Shuang was not around at the moment. Aya, what are you afraid of? Drink, drink. We won't rest until we're drunk. Qin Yu was so happy that she hugged Si Luo's shoulder and drank in big gulps, even asking Si Luo to drink with her. After meeting with An Hun, Qin Yu was informed that Yun Jian was safe and sound. At the same time, the kosher mercenaries were informed as well. Everything had returned to its peaceful and beautiful starting point. Sister Qin Yu, I really shouldn't drink anymore. They say that drinking makes things worse. Sister Qin, you shouldn't drink too. Si Luo blinked his large eyes, wanting to snatch the bottle of wine that Qin Yu was drinking from. I drink, drink. Little Luo, are you afraid of that one at home? Don't be afraid, I'll protect you. Drink as much as you want. Qin Yu's bold look moved Si Luo. Alright, I'll take a sip then. Si Luo, who was extremely innocent, was very curious about wine. After the first sip, Si Luo closed his eyes from the bitterness of the wine, his brows and cheeks scrunched up tightly. It's so bitter. Si Luo could not stand the bitterness at all. He stuck out his tongue and complained to Qin Yu. It won't be bitter after a few more sips. It's delicious. Listen to me. Come, cheers. Qin Yu clinked her glass with Si Luo's. After a while, Si Luo drank quite a bit. By the time Luo Berry found Si Luo, he was already drunk. I can drink, I want more. Si Luo was holding a wine glass in a drunken stupor as he tried to pour more wine. You can't drink anymore, Sister Qin Yu. How could you let Luo drink so much? Luo Mei looked at Qin Yu and reprimanded her softly. Qin Yu, who was sitting in front of them, raised a small wine glass in her hand and poured herself a small cup of wine. She took a sip and grinned at Luo Mei. Drinking will spoil things. I'm trying to be a matchmaker. Little girl, you wouldn't understand. Actually, Qingyu was about the same age as Luo Bailey, but her tone made Luo Bailey think that Qingyu was a very old elder sister. When Xueying entered the room, the scene he saw was, I want to drink more. Don't take my wine glass, I still want to drink. Give me back my wine glass. Si Luo's cheeks were red as he grabbed the wine glass in Luo Berry's hand and refused to let go as he spoke. She was giving him wine. Xueying was about to explode when he saw this. He strode over to grab Si Luo's hand and brought her home without saying goodbye. After bringing Si Luo home, Xueying pinned her against the wall. Why are you drinking? Si Luo, who was still in a daze, became domineering again when she heard the word wine. I still want to drink. Give me wine, I want to drink. Si Luo was still tugging at her clothes as she spoke. Her body was warm from the strong alcohol, so she wanted to take off her jacket to continue drinking. However, she did not take off her jacket when she tugged at her clothes. Instead, her voluptuous breasts were exposed under her collar. Xueying was speechless. His beloved woman was tugging at her clothes in front of him. This scene shocked Xueying so much that he turned his head away immediately. However, when he did, Xueying's eyes met with Si Luo's cherry-red lips. They were pink and tender. You asked for it. I'm not a decent person either. Xueying punched the wall and held the back of Si Luo's head as he kissed her. A Night of Madness. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version website. Chapter 2399. Xueying had tolerated Si Luo for a long time now. Seeing Si Luo tugging at his clothes and the corners of his clothes, he could no longer hold it in. However, what made Xueying lose control was that Si Luo had tugged on the wrong clothes, grabbing the collar and pulling it down. Xueying took in the beautiful view below. It was no wonder that Xueying could not hold himself back and pounced on her. He had already said that he was not a good person. The next morning, the scorching sun shone through the curtains onto her face. Si Luo rolled over and rolled off the bed. The headache from drinking too much last night and the burning sensation coming from her lower body scared Si Luo into sitting up straight. Yesterday. Si Luo scratched his head as he suddenly recalled that someone seemed to have dragged him away to a hotel. Looking at the bed, there was no one there. There was a red blood stain on the bedsheet where she had slept. Si Luo had been led astray by Qingyu and Luo Berry, so she was no longer as innocent as before. Of course, she knew what it meant to see the blood stain on the bed and the swelling pain coming from her lower body. Si Luo stood up absent-mindedly and ran out of the hotel room after putting on her clothes like she was escaping. She had been raped. That was Si Luo's first reaction. At Qingyu's house. Qingyu, Leng Mei, Gunyinji, who had returned from the Divine Continent, and Luo Berry were playing mahjong. La. I finally won this time. You guys can wash my clothes for the next 2 days. You're welcome. Qingyu put the mahjong tiles on the table and stood up. Turning around, she faced Leng Mei, Gunyinji, and Luo Berry with her butt and made a face at them. Didn't I go easy on you this time? That's why you won. I pitied you, so I went easy on you. Let's play another round if you dare. I'll make you kneel down and call me daddy. Leng Mei stepped on the bench and hooked her pinky at Qingyu. No. I'm not playing anymore. The Primetime Calabash Brothers is replaying. I'm going to reminisce about my childhood. You guys play on your own. Qingyu stuck her tongue out at Leng Mei and ran back to her room. She had only taken 2 steps when someone knocked on the door of Qingyu's suite. Who is it? Qingyu ran to open the door in a pair of bunny slippers. Just as the door was opened, a petite and pitiful figure pounced into Qingyu's arms. Sister Qingyu. Si Luo threw himself into Qingyu's arms and bawled even louder. What's wrong? What's wrong? Who bullied you? I'll beat him up for you. Qingyu quickly patted Si Luo's back and asked. Yesterday Si Luo sobbed. She had been raped. He didn't even know who the other party was. But how could she have the nerve to say such words? It's fine. Tell me, I'll make the decision for you. If any man dares to bully you, I'll castrate him. Qingyu flexed her muscles.